She hadn't said his name in 10 years. And there he was, standing in her dead father's house, the same man her father paid to disappear. 10 years ago, they burned everything trying to stay together. Her family threatened to destroy his. He walked away to save them both. She married someone else, and now fate put them in the same room. Danny. Danny. This is the story of the summer that should have lasted forever, and the 10 years they spent paying for it. June 14th, 1998. Claire Whitmore was 20, home from Yale, expected to marry Preston Howard III by fall, expected to become the woman her mother had been grooming her to be. She hated every second of it. 9:47 p.m. She escaped to the dock, looking for air. She wasn't expecting anyone, but Daniel Sullivan was there. 22, groundskeeper, Hemingway in his lap, reading by moonlight. Their eyes met. She should have walked away. He should have excused himself. Neither did. The sun also rises. You've read it? Twice. Once because I had to. Once because I wanted to. He moved over. She sat. They talked for 3 hours that first night. About Hemingway and Paris and broken people. About everything except who they were supposed to be. 12:53 a.m. She stood to leave. Same time tomorrow? Dangerous question. They both knew it. Tomorrow then. Danny sat there for another hour, knowing he just made a choice he couldn't take back. They had 73 days. 73 days before her father discovered them, before threats and ultimatums, before everything shattered. But that night, they had no idea what was coming. June became July. Every morning at 6 a.m., Claire slipped out, met Danny at the dock, watched the sunrise. He taught her sailing knots. She brought him books from her father's library, first editions her father bought but never read. Danny consumed them, returned them covered in pencil marks. Margins full of thoughts. Claire read every note, fell deeper in love with each word. July 18th. Danny took her sailing, out past the estate, out where no one could see. The wind caught. Claire laughed, real, alive. Danny watched her and knew he was completely in love. They anchored in a hidden cove. Tell me something true, she said. I'm terrified I'll wake up at 40 still here, still fixing boats, never becoming anything. You create things. That matters more than you know. Your turn. I don't know who I am underneath all the expectations. Then figure it out. What if I don't like what I find? Then become someone else. She kissed him. Soft. A question. He answered. When they pulled apart, foreheads touching. Claire, this is... I know. We can't. I know. She kissed him again. Harder, certain. They spent every moment they could steal. Early mornings, late nights, afternoons when she skipped tennis lessons. They never talked about September, never made promises they couldn't keep, just lived in the precious now. August 10th, 2 weeks before everything ended, lying on the dock, her head on his chest. What are you thinking? That I want to freeze this moment forever. Me too. But we can't. I know. I leave in 3 weeks. I know. And then what? I don't know. She sat up, looked at him. I'm not marrying Preston. I don't care what my parents say. Claire, when I go back to school, I want to come back. To you. Your family will never allow it. I don't care. You should. You don't know what they're capable of. I choose you, Danny. I choose this. He kissed her, wanted to believe. But deep down, he knew. The world didn't let people like them win. August 24th, 6:47 a.m. Claire met Danny on the beach, hidden, private, sunrise, his arms around her, watching the ocean. 2 weeks. I know, she turned. Promise me we'll make this work. I promise. What they didn't know Catherine Whitmore was at her bedroom window, watching, her daughter and the groundskeeper, kissing on the beach. Rage. Pure, cold rage. 7:04 a.m. Catherine walked into Richard's study. We have a problem. Richard followed her to the window, saw them. His jaw tightened. Not surprised, he'd suspected. How long? I don't know, but it ends today. Claire comes to my study at 8. And him? I'll handle him. Claire and Danny had 17 minutes. 17 minutes before ultimatums, before impossible choices. They spent them kissing, laughing, believing they had time. They were wrong. 8:02 a.m. Claire walked into her father's study, sand in her hair, still smiling. The smile died. Richard sat behind his desk, Catherine by the window, both cold. Sit down. She remained standing. What's this about? Sit down. Richard slid a folder across the desk. Photographs, her and Danny everywhere. You've been following me? Protecting you. How long have you been sleeping with the help? That word. Help. Claire lifted her chin. His name is Danny. 2 months. Catherine gasped. Richard stood, walked to the window. Daniel Sullivan, 22. Mother has MS, sister 16. Father died 4 years ago. Medical debt, $47,000. 3 months behind on property taxes. 1 bad month from foreclosure. He turned. This is who you're throwing your life away for? You investigated him? Of course. And here's what happens now. You end this today and go back to Yale. Marry Preston. We forget this summer. Or I cut you off completely. No trust fund, no tuition, no family. And I make one phone call that destroys his life. Catherine's voice was ice. We'll tell everyone you had a breakdown. By Christmas, you'll be yesterday's scandal. Richard leaned forward. 1 call to the bank, his mother's house, foreclosed. 1 call to the hospital, her care, terminated. 1 call to Emma's scholarship committee, her future, gone. 1 call to every business in this county, his reputation, finished. You'd destroy his family because I fell in love? Without hesitation. You have until 5 p.m. End it, or I end him. Get out of my study. 10:47 a.m. Danny at home making breakfast for his mother. Knock on the door. Courier, envelope from Cliffside Estate. Your presence is required. 11:30 a.m. Do not be late. His stomach dropped. This was about Claire. 11:29 a.m. Standing outside the main house. The door opened. Catherine. He's waiting. Danny had never walked through the front door. The foyer smelled like money. Old, immovable. Catherine led him to the study. Richard sat behind his desk, gestured to the chair. Sit. Danny sat, meeting his eyes, refusing to be small. I'll make this simple. How much? Excuse me? How much money to leave and never contact my daughter again? I'm not for sale. Everyone has a price. $20,000. Enough to relocate, pay off debt, get your mother better care. I don't want your money. No? What about your mother's medication? Your sister's college fund? The foreclosure notices you're pretending doesn't exist? I know everything about you, Daniel. Where you bank, what you owe, how close you are to losing that house. You think I'd let my daughter get involved without research? This is about control. This is about preventing a catastrophic mistake. She's 20. In 5 years, she won't remember your name. That landed, hurt. Take the money and leave, or stay and watch me burn everything you love. Danny stared at this man, this stranger with all the power. Richard lived in a world where money solved problems, where people were transactions, where love was a luxury only the wealthy could test. I don't want your money. Richard raised eyebrows. Then you're a fool. But I'll leave. Richard nodded. Smart choice. One condition. No goodbye. No letters. No contact. Ever. That's cruel. That's mercy. Danny stood, walked to the door, turned back. You win. But you should know. She deserved better than you. Better than this family. And she definitely deserved better than me. Danny went to their dock, where it started. Pulled out paper, started writing. Claire, by the time you read this, I'll be gone. Your father made me an offer I couldn't refuse, not money he offered to not destroy my family. I'm not strong enough to fight this, not brave enough to watch you sacrifice everything. You deserve Paris and first editions and a life without limits. I can give you Camden and use paperbacks and constant struggle. That's not love. That's selfishness. So I'm setting you free, not because I don't love you, because I do, more than anything. But love isn't enough. Forget me. Go back to Yale. Marry someone from your world. Be happy. I'll remember this summer forever. I'll never regret a single second, even this one. Danny. He left the letter, waited with a stone, walked to his truck, drove away, didn't look back. Couldn't. 5:47 p.m. Catherine finally unlocked Claire's door. He left. It's over. Claire ran. Down the steps. Through the garden. To the dock. Empty. Then she saw it. White paper. His handwriting. By the time you read this, I'll be gone. She read it twice, then fell to her knees. Screamed. Not words, just raw grief. She stayed until midnight, holding the letter, wondering if hearts actually break. Hers felt like it had stopped. 6 days later, Claire left for Yale. Didn't say goodbye to her parents. September, October, November. Going through motions. Dying inside. December 28th, 11:43 p.m. Emma Sullivan called. Claire, Danny's gone. Left 2 days ago. No address, no number. Just gone. Claire sat on her dorm floor, bus ticket to Maine in her hand. The trip she'd planned. Meaningless now. He was really gone. New Year's Eve, 1998. Claire alone in the dark. Clock turning. 1999. New Year. Same pain. 10 years passed. Claire breathing, moving forward, never healing. Until October 2008, when her father died, and she had to go back. October 14th, 2008. Claire Whitmore Patterson, married at 25 to Michael, finance attorney, good family, everything her parents wanted. She was 30 now. Boston address, corner office. Everything she'd stopped wanting at 20. Tuesday, her mother called. Your father's dead. Heart attack. Richard Whitmore. Dead at 63. Claire felt nothing, then guilt for feeling nothing. The estate needs handling. I can't do it alone. She arrived Thursday. The house looked smaller. Catherine was there. You look tired. Not hello, just observation. Some things never changed. Friday morning, estate manager Eleanor arrived. We need to assess the grounds, the dock especially. I've called someone. 2 o'clock. Claire went through her father's papers. Found a photograph. Summer 1998. Her, 20, laughing, before. Eleanor's voice drifted in. Thank you for coming. A man responded. Distant, familiar, impossible. Different memory, different voice. Eleanor again. The dock needs assessment before we list. Man's voice. I can do that. When do you need it? She walked to the window. Looked down. 10 years older, but unmistakable. Danny, after 10 years. He just walked back in. She reached the foyer, hands shaking. This wasn't real. Eleanor and Danny talking. She appeared in the doorway. Danny saw her. Froze. 10 years collapsed. Claire. Her name in his voice. She couldn't breathe. Danny. Eleanor stepped back. You two know each other? Neither answered. Danny looked different. Older. Lines around his eyes. Weathered. But the same. I didn't know you'd be here. I thought you left. Emma said. I did. For a while. Came back 2 years ago. 2 years and you never. She stopped. Eleanor disappeared. Left them standing there. Danny shoved hands in pockets. Defense. I'm sorry about your father. Are you? Sharper than intended. He was still your father. He was a lot of things. I can leave. Get someone else. Don't leave. Okay. You look good. So do you. Lie. He looked tired. Worn. The dock. Is it still there? Needs repair. But yeah. Can I come with you? To see it? Hesitation. They walked in silence. Through the garden. Down the steps. Everything smaller than remembered. The oak tree where they'd carved initials. Gone. Cut down. But the dock remained. Weathered. Graying. Standing. Danny tested boards. Pulled out a notebook. Measuring. Professional. distant. Claire watched. This stranger who used to be everything. Do you ever think about it? Danny stopped, didn't turn. Think about what? That summer. Every day for 2 years, then every week, then every month, then, sometimes, he turned. I tried to find you. After graduation, you were gone. I was in Portland, working. Did Emma tell you that you looked for me? Yeah. Why didn't you call? Same reason you didn't. What reason? Because 10 years passed. We were different people. What would I have said? Claire walked closer. You could have said hello. Would it have changed anything? I don't know. Danny set down his notebook. I'm married. Hit like a fist. Oh. Small voice, failing to sound neutral. Was. Divorced 2 years ago. What happened? She said I was never really there. Always somewhere else. Someone else. She was right. Claire's hand went to her ring. I'm married too. Still. Michael. Lawyer. Boston. Condo in Back Bay. Is he good to you? That's not what you asked, but yes, he's kind, stable, brings me coffee, never forgets my birthday. Still not an answer. He's good to me, but you're not happy. I don't know if I remember what happy feels like. Danny sat, legs dangling over the edge, like he used to. Claire sat beside him, 2 feet apart, just like the first night. I'm sorry for leaving, for not fighting harder, for letting your father win. He didn't give you a choice. There's always a choice. I made the coward's one. You were protecting your family. I was protecting myself from failing, from watching you realize I wasn't enough. You were enough. Always. Then why am I sitting here 10 years later, divorced and alone, still thinking about a summer that ended a decade ago? Because it meant something. It was real. Real doesn't pay bills. Your father was right about that. My father was cruel. Don't give him credit. He wasn't wrong. Different worlds. Never going to work. We'll never know. We didn't try. We tried for 8 months. It nearly destroyed us both. Silence. Waves. 10 years hanging between them. Can I tell you something? Yeah. I've been lying to myself for 10 years. Telling myself I moved on. Built a good life. Made right choices. But I've been going through motions. I married a good man but don't love him. Not the way I should. Not the way I... She stopped. Not the way you loved me. Not the way I loved you. He turned. Claire, I know it doesn't matter. I know we can't go back. But I needed you to know. It wasn't just summer. It was everything. I got married because I thought it would fix me. Stop me thinking about you. But on my wedding day, all I thought was she's not Claire. That's terrible. Yeah. So what do we do? Danny looked at the water. Nothing. You go back to Boston. I finished this assessment. We add this to things we don't talk about. Is that what you want? No, but it makes sense. I'm so tired of things making sense. She stood. Fine. You're right. We're strangers. This is pointless. Eleanor can send you the details. Started walking. Claire, wait. She stopped. Didn't turn. What? I loved you. Past tense. 10 years ago. More than anyone. That summer, those months were the best and worst of my life. But we were kids. The world was bigger. Maybe some loves aren't meant to last. Maybe they teach you something and let you go. Claire turned, tears streaming. What did this love teach you? Danny smiled, sad. That love isn't enough. That wanting doesn't make it possible. That sometimes the right person comes at the wrong time. What if this is the right time? It's not. How do you know? Because you're married. I'm divorced. You live in Boston. I live here. We're not 20 and 22 anymore. So we just shake hands? Pretend this didn't gut us? Danny walked to her, stopped inches away, close enough to touch. Didn't. Yeah, that's exactly what we do. I hate you for being practical. I hate me too. They stood there, so close, impossibly far. Danny stepped back. Goodbye, Claire. Don't say goodbye again. Just let me walk away this time. What should I say? Nothing. April 2009. Claire sat in a lawyer's office, signed her name 47 times. Divorce papers. Amicable, clean split. Michael had been kind. "You've been gone for 10 years. I was hoping you'd come back." She hadn't. She walked into Boston Spring, breathed, pulled out her phone, Emma's name in contacts. They'd reconnected after the funeral. "How's Danny?" "Good, finally good. Dating someone, nice, local, uncomplicated." Claire smiled. "Good. He deserves that." Meant it. She didn't call Danny, didn't need to. Some stories don't need epilogues. Same day, Danny on a boat, Emma visiting, graduate degree, engaged, happy. "You seem lighter." "Do I?" "Yeah, like you finally let something go." Danny looked at the horizon. Thought about Claire. Hoped she was okay. "Yeah, maybe I did." 30 years old, separate lives, separate cities, separate futures, and sometimes on quiet mornings, when the light hit the water just right, they both thought about that summer, not with regret, not with longing, just remembering. Because some people aren't meant to stay. They're meant to change you, teach you, show you what love can be, even if you can't keep it. Claire and Danny never spoke again, but they never forgot. And maybe that was enough. Some loves are meant to last. Others are meant to let you go. This was the summer they tried to keep, the year they fought to hold on, the decade they spent learning to let go, and the rest of their lives knowing it was real. It mattered. And it's okay that it ended, because the best love stories aren't always the ones that last. Sometimes they're the ones that teach you how to love yourself enough to walk away. For everyone who loves someone they couldn't keep. Have you ever loved someone at the wrong time? Share your story below. If this reminded you that heartbreak can be survived, that some loves teach more by ending like this video. Subscribe for the next story. Thank you for listening.